Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1690, written by Narrow Walrus 7926, a plane in the sky, frozen, oh my. I had an early morning meeting at work last week, so my husband and I left early that day for him to drop me off. It was so early, it was just us and two other cars on the road. We live a couple miles from an international airport and see planes coming and going all the time. We stopped at a red light and saw a full-size passenger jet coming in to land, and it even had the big brand name on the side of it. Not going to say which airline it was because I feel weird sharing this in general. It was flying towards the airport to land, but it was flying really oddly. It looked like it was too low to make it to the airport for one, and for two, the way it was moving was just weird. It was gliding and kind of bouncing, and my immediate thought was, is that a plane or a balloon? I thought I was crazy, until I heard my husband, from the driver's seat, go, is that a balloon? And we both kept watching it, and decided there was no way someone had a life-size replica balloon of a Boeing of a specific airline, flying that high in the sky near a large airport. The light turns green. The plane was heading towards us, but when we got the green, we started heading towards it, and we realized we were the ones getting closer. We ended up driving parallel to it, and we realized the plane wasn't moving, like at all anymore. It's like it was frozen in mid-air. There's sometimes an optical illusion with planes, where if you get lined up correctly with one, and are going at a certain speed, it can make the plane look like it's still. You can Google it. I forgot the name of the illusion. We decided that had to be what was happening. We rolled our windows down to get a better look, and then we realized there's no way the plane was moving, because it was dead quiet outside. Those jets, we see them all the time, and they are loud. This one wasn't making any noise at all, and not only was it not making noise, neither was anything else. The birds stopped chirping, the wind stopped. We rolled our windows back up, and I turned to my husband and was like, I don't like this. There's no way we saw what we just saw. And he agreed that there had to be an explanation. I turned around again to get a second look, and the whole plane was gone. While it is a plane, it could have taken off out of view, but silently, and in maybe a 3-second time span? This happened last week. We haven't talked about it since, but this morning I was like, can we talk about the plane thing? Like, what was that? My husband said it made him so uncomfortable, he's been trying to forget about it entirely. I'm fascinated. I have no idea what happened or what we saw. But there has to be an explanation, right? Where did all those people go? We've tried Googling and have found nothing. I almost want to reach out on social media and see if I can find the people who were in those other two cars. But even just telling the story makes me feel like I'm crazy. Like it's one of those stories that if someone told me about it, I honestly probably wouldn't believe them. But it happened right in front of me and I know what I saw. I'm just glad my husband saw it too. Case answer file 1690. A plane in the sky? Frozen. Oh my. So yes, it's true. There's a very real effect, and what you described is called the parallax effect. You can also see this with birds, various birds that can sort of hover in one spot. Now they are actually hovering, but it requires a certain amount of wind as well. And I don't think you can actually hover with a plane. It's just the appearance of it, the fake illusion. But in this case, no, because silence is the key. If you were that close to a plane, and they were actually flying in air, unless their engines burned out, and they weren't on at all, but I don't think that's the case. Given every detail you mention, my guess is nothing to do with the parallax effect, everything to do with a space-time portal, a ripple in time and space connecting to a different universe, and you were simply seeing in that universe, or ahead in time in this universe. So maybe the plane was going to be there, but you were seeing a sort of snapshot in time or in the multiverse spectrum. Hard to say which one, but my gut is it's just multiverse site, but usually those are limited to very small areas. So this occupying the entire volume of a plane is very unusual. And I do think sometimes these space-time portals can appear and consume an entire plane, and that is how sometimes planes vanish entirely. Not necessarily related to the Bermuda Triangle, but perhaps more prone there, for ships as well. Case file number 1691, written by OKBadger1204, The Boot Puzzle with a Coin to Unravel. Had a coin fall into my boot from a place I visited 10 years ago. I'm trying to make sense of what happened to me this morning while I was at work. I know it can't just be a coincidence. Both of those puns were intended because I use humor to cope with situations. While at work this morning, I was recycling some metal for the company I work for. I was taking lamps from the table to the recycling bin, as the metal is heavy, so I can carry one at a time. I'd already been doing this for about a half an hour when I felt like something fell into my boot. It's not an uncommon occurrence of things falling into my boots considering I don't tie them, and my jeans usually rest inside my boots. Like John Bender in The Breakfast Club, I feel it slide down my ankle and rest at the bottom of my boot and jiggle around while I finish making my lap. After tossing the metal in the bin, I take my boot off and shake out the debris that I felt fall in. As it falls in the dirt, I see that it is a coin about the size of a nickel or a quarter. I think to myself that it's strange because I didn't have any change on me that day, as I haven't used cash in a few weeks. I pick up the coin and I realize that it's neither a nickel or a quarter. It's a 20-cent coin from Bank Negara, Malaysia. My mind kind of froze when I picked it up. What in the actual hell? Why, how, when, what? I live in the US and visited this place probably 10 years ago, almost to this day. I had a weekend port visit there when I was in the Navy on deployment. I did keep a couple of coins from the places I visited, because it was just change that was left over from the trip. But that was 10 years ago. Plus, all of my change I collected from them is in my storage unit, and haven't dealt with it in years. I'm so baffled about what happened that now I can't even focus at work. I need some kind of opinion or outside perspective that I can't think of as to what just happened. The boots I wear are military-like, but not the same pair from them. I bought them about 4 years ago. Question to file 1691. The boot puzzle with a coin to unravel. It's funny because every single glitch now, or almost every single one, can be reduced or involve space-time portals, or dead pockets of space-time that we can still see through and interact with. But in this case, it seems like objects go out of phase, but they still bind to us. They're still tethered to us. It isn't just that light goes right through them. It's that you can't physically touch it anymore. But the object is still, maybe just in code and information, bound to us, and then eventually reemerges. What the catalyst for that is, I have no clue. Is it really some dude in the real world pushing a button, like it phase out, phase back in? It seems so weird because these objects, what does it matter for these objects? Is it maybe the universe, the program corrupting, and then eventually someone notices and fixes it? But sometimes the gap in time is so large, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So explaining why this happens is sort of easy, but explaining the motive behind it, because it seems like a will is involved, it can't be random. I don't know. I am stumped on that part. Now time for the quote of the day. Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson, danger! From another classic sci-fi movie, Lost in Space. There is a Netflix adaptation, which I haven't seen. I should. I hear it's decent, but I'm talking about the movie back in the day. It was one of those movies that might not be great, but because I saw it as a kid, there's nostalgia involved, and I can't get over it. I always rewatch it here and there, and it always lands. The monkey is interesting. But I won't spoil anymore. Of course, they are lost in space, which I don't think that's a spoiler. It's kind of given the name of the movie, but go watch it. And danger, Will Robinson, danger. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.